The Human Rights Commission recently stated that the executive treats the Uganda human rights as a dumping ground for political rejects. As the minister, do you agree with this characterization of the Constitutional Human Rights Commission? Secondly, Mr. Minister, why have you allowed this vital constitutional body to collapse into a total gridlock under your watch? Mr. Minister, while the Uganda Human Rights Commission remains completely paralyzed by the internal fighting, state torture, illegal detention, among others arising, Mr. Minister, Honorable Minister, would you comfortably, without fear of any contradiction, say that the government in power respects human rights, when you have allowed the single constitutional body meant to protect citizens to rot into absolute irrelevance?
Thank you.
The last one, Mr. Chairman.
I'm afraid we are running out of time.
1 second, Mr. Chairman. He has
supposed to be
he has advocated for fair hearing to security organs among others. But recently, when one of the lawyers of Dr. Chiza Besige sounded that he intended to serve the CDF with the summons to defend himself in respect of human rights violations, a few moments later, that lawyer was kidnapped, taken to basement, was held incommunicado and tortured. Later on, he was presented in court after that torture.
Why did you get those facts?
I've been following, Mr. Chairman. I've been watching the news.
Order, Chair. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Order.
Independence does not mean a body operates in isolation. The Honorable Adeke said, is this a bird flying on its own that we cannot catch? Like, to use the same analogy, if you have an aeroplane, it must be linked to a control tower. This actually is the control tower, the parliament. That's why the report is presented to Parliament and not to the executive. I also believe that the statement by the chairperson characterizing some of her colleagues in a derogatory manner may have been made in anger, and there may have been reactions. Mr. Chairman, not all of us can withstand pressure the same way. There are some of us who are built differently. We can deal with pressure, but some people may not be able to deal with pressure. But ultimately, what comes out of you when you're under pressure is what you want. What comes out of you when you are squeezed is what you contain. Leadership requires that you know how to deal with pressure. These statements were extremely unfortunate, and as a politician myself, I feel offended because some of the most distinguished people who have been appointed to commissions were politicians.
But Honorable Minister, for the record, she apologizes in this committee for the statement.
I think she needs to apologize to her colleagues. And also,
that's true.
The appointment of members of commissions is not exclusively in the hands of the president. You have a checkpoint here in Parliament. So you cannot accuse the president if this checkpoint cannot stop somebody who is unfit. So Parliament shares the responsibility with the appointing authority. You are the gatekeepers also. There are many times we have looked at the law and refused to clear certain people. I was in this parliament when we rejected the appointment of General Salim Saleh.
It's different now.
You can change that, and I think you can. Lastly, Mr. Chairman, even though the Uganda Human Rights Commission has problems, there are other bodies that can deal with it. Let us assume that the Uganda Human Rights Commission is the brake, but there are also handbrakes. So it doesn't mean that human rights can no longer be protected. We have got the Inspectorate of Government, we have got the courts, and we also have this house, Mr. Chairman. So you are urging us to get involved. I have listened to the chairperson. For the record, the chairperson was my classmate. I've known her for decades. And some of the members, the chairperson of the commission, they are also members of the commission who I know. But now, the government rationalization program is going to combine the Uganda Human Rights Commission and the Equal Opportunities Commission. So this body is going to be reconstituted. And I can only now urge the Parliament in the exercise of its role as a gatekeeper. The Appointments Committee really has got to up its game. I hear the Honorable Adeke say it is no longer the same. The truth is, history will record that you were the ones who were members of Parliament. Fortunately, the Hansard is there with your names, and people will say, what sort of people were in this house when these things were happening? I trust, Mr. Chairman, in your leadership and the leadership of this committee on this very important issue. I regret that we have reached where we are. It is regrettable that we have reached where we are. And on Thursday, I will say more about some of the other issues of concern. But I insist that we look at the problems in the Uganda Human Rights Commission as an opportunity for us to strengthen the institution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Minister and Honourable Members, for that presentation.
The Constitution gives the Human Rights Commission independence. Secondly, we will not interfere with the Commission's independence discharge of its mandate. Third, the independence does not exempt the Commission from accountability for public resources. They also have to account for their administrative conduct. Fifth, concerns regarding the internal administration of the Commission should be addressed through constitutional and statutory mechanisms that are provided. Number 6, we have a duty to protect the rights of those who lodge complaints before the Commission. The Commission has a duty to conduct fair, impartial, and above all, timely processes. 7, and finally, Parliament is entitled to exercise oversight over all public institutions. And it is our duty as government to respect that mandate. And that is why the government will continue to support measures that strengthen the institutional capacity of the Commission. And this support is through adequate financing, staffing, an effective system for disposing cases. As a way forward, we understand the inquiries that are being undertaken by competent authorities. We urge that this committee speeds up its work so that your report can also be forwarded to the appointing authority. He will know what to do. That's his constitutional mandate. And when he seeks our input, we will give it. I want to end on a positive note, Mr. Chairman. This is actually an opportunity. I'm very happy that these things are happening. Yes. The current situation gives us an opportunity to find the weaknesses. For those of you who live near lakes, until the boat starts to leak, you will not repair it. So this is an opportunity to address the individual allegations, but more importantly is to strengthen the institution. I'm confident that the Uganda Human Rights Commission will emerge stronger after this episode, because the weaknesses are now in the full glare of the public. We now propose the following measures. Number one, processes are according to the law and the constitution. In other words, an institution which is established to check arbitrariness cannot itself be arbitrary. Number two, the commission should abide by the principles of natural justice. These men and women in uniform are normally bashed one-sidedly. In fact, it's enough to be accused. The moment they say, soldiers came and beat us up, nobody wants to know what actually was, even the circumstance of the case or the truth of it. So, we will insist that there should be natural justice. The Commission should strengthen its internal governance and institutional mechanism, especially to ensure collective decision making. These quarrels in the Commission are because some members of the Commission feel excluded from the decision making process. In Parliament we have a plenary. You can choose to attend or not. But once plenary has taken a decision, we are all included and we are bound by the decision, because all the doors are open for us to go there. The problem in the Uganda Human Rights Commission, there are those who have been accusing the leadership that the decisions are made in cliques. So we insist that we should go back to collective decision making. We also propose that dealing with human rights complaints should be systematic, and they should also be prioritized according to the urgency and vulnerability of the persons concerned. When people disappear and there are video recordings, those are the most urgent cases. In fact, the reason why we have the 48-hour law, it is because the liberty of a citizen is the most important thing. No citizen should be denied of their liberty beyond 48 hours. We also propose that there should be adequate facilitation to the Human Rights Tribunal. We want to strengthen administrative accountability mechanisms. And if there are problems with the staff of the Human Rights Commission, they will be subjected, and that we can do administratively. They should be taken through a performance improvement program to be monitored. We also submit that parliamentary oversight and investigation by other authorities should be acted upon. Parliament, the government and the Commission should continue engaging constructively so that the lack of resources do not compromise the discharge of the Commission's constitutional mandate. We remain firmly committed to preserving the independence of the Uganda Human Rights Commission, strengthening its institutional capacity, ensuring accountability in accordance with the law, and safeguarding the confidence of the Ugandan people in this one of the country's most important constitutional institutions. This is not just, excuse me, this is not merely a legal obligation. It is a constitutional duty and an essential pillar of Uganda's democratic governance. I beg to submit, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Honorable.
The availability of resources. I wish to admit, Mr. Chairman, that the lack of resources has undermined the institutional capacity of the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Nevertheless, the existence of budgetary constraints does not relieve an institution of the responsibility to account. It is not enough to say the money I'm given is little, therefore even if I don't account. However little the money is, you must account for it fully. We want to pledge as government that we shall continue working with you as Parliament to ensure that the Commission is adequately resourced to perform its constitutional mandate. Incidentally, the work of the Human Rights Commission extends to all vulnerable groups. As I close, I now wish to talk about accountability and the role of the oversight functions. Most of the opinions that have been formed about the dysfunctions in the Uganda Human Rights Commission has been based on allegations which have not been subjected to any due process. And that's why this hearing before this committee is very important. People have witnessed televised reports of accusations and counter-accusations by commissioners and the chairperson, emotional outbursts, allegations of financial impropriety. The position of government is straightforward. No institution is above the law. The law requires accountability, and that's why we are here to support the process you have initiated. Sometimes the Auditor General issues reports, and where the Auditor General requires explanation, it must be given. Sometimes Parliament requires clarification. The institution must provide it. Where the IGG or the Inspectorate of Government is exercising its mandate, that process must be allowed to proceed independently. And where there are allegations of individual wrongdoing, investigations must be carried out by competent institutions. As government, we will not obstruct legitimate investigations, and we will not even prejudge their outcome. We are not here to defend any individual. We are merely here to say everybody has to account to the Parliament. Now, allegation does not mean the proof. Unfortunately, in the world in which we live, dominated by social media like TikTok, X, and Facebook, judgment comes before presentation of evidence. So, let us investigate, let us find proof, then judge. The only caveat we can add, that no institution can invoke constitutional independence to shield itself from lawful scrutiny. Now, our position as government. First,